So the big question is this: how do you lose all the weight that you want and actually keep it off for the rest of your life, while trying to make sense of all the noise that comes from the weight loss industry? That is the question. And this podcast will give you the answers.
G'day guys, and welcome to the next episode of the Weight Loss Secrets podcast. My name is Baron Grant and I'm wrapped to be with you for another day, another tip, another trick, some sort of idea that's going to be able to help you make changes in your life to lose all the weight that you want and actually keep it off this time. Keep it off and never put it back on. That's what we want. And before I jump into today's episode, I want you to head to ditchingthediet.com where you can download all of the stuff that you need to be able to get started on your journey. Or you can even book a call with me and I can help you on your journey as well. We can have a chat on the phone and see if we can get you going to lose all that weight that you're after and keep it off. All right, so today I want to talk about superheroes. Everybody loves superheroes. I mean, you look at Marvel movies right now and they're off the charts. Everybody thinks they're amazing and you've got your favorite superhero that sits within those Marvel movies, I'm sure. If I'm really honest, I would say my superhero is Rocky Balboa. Now, I know that he doesn't wear a cape or wear his jocks on the outside or anything like that or have a fancy mask. But the thing I love about Rocky Balboa is his never say die attitude. No matter what, whether he's fighting the Russian or he's fighting Mr. T, it doesn't matter. He continues to come at them no matter what, even if he's getting his head punched in flat out every single round. I love Rocky Balboa. He's like someone that I go, what a great character, what a great superhero because of his just mental toughness. He's just tough. And that's why I love him. But maybe you like the superhero Thor, or you like someone like Superman or Batman or whatever. Now, they've got all these different superpowers. Their superpowers might be that they can melt things with their eyes, or they can, fly through the air, or they can go invisible, or they can be really stretchy, or whatever it is. Everybody will have their favorite superhero, and they will love their superhero powers that special superhero has. I want you to think about the superhero powers that you need on a weight loss journey. Because we actually need some superhero powers to get to where we want to be and actually stay there. It's really easy in life to just go through the motions and just exist. And as we do that, we gain weight. That's what happens if we just go through the motions. So we've got to really find our inner superhero powers, our weight loss superhero powers. And I want to talk about 3 weight loss superhero powers that I think if you really get hold of, they're in there somewhere, you will be successful on your weight loss journey if you just adhere to these 3 superpowers that you need. But it is a mindset shift. Make no mistake. This doesn't just happen by downloading some meal plan off the internet. You've got to get your head in the right place to win this game. And I think that is really understated. If you want to win at weight loss, you have to change the way that you think. You have to think differently forever, because you have to eat healthy forever if you want to lose weight and keep it off. That's why the gimmicky stuff doesn't work. Yeah, you'll lose weight with that stuff, but then if you want to keep it off, there's got to be a big shift in our heads. So I want to give my 3 that I believe, and I'd love to know your comments down below. If you think there's other superpowers that you need to lose weight and keep it off, then you pop them down below. I'd love to hear them. But number 1 is honesty. I think this is the most important superhero power. You need to be able to become honest with yourself and with other people about where you're at. Not only where you're at, how you got there. Because it's not, for the most part, I have to say this right, for the most part, 99.9% of the time, it's what we put in our mouths. Well, it couldn't be any more most part. It's pretty much always, right? It's what we put in our mouths. And so being honest about that is super, super important. But I remember talking to a lady a little while ago on the phone, and we spoke for a long time on the phone, and I asked her how much she weighed. She wanted me to coach her on my program. And I said to her, hey, I can do that, but you've got to tell me how much you weigh so we have a starting point. She goes, no, I won't tell you. She got quite upset at me and would not tell me how much she weighed. And after big, long discussions with her, I said, I can't be your guy, unfortunately. And that might sound really harsh, but that's okay. You don't have to be with me. That's all right. There'll be somebody else that'll be more suitable. And she tried again and again and again for me to coach her, and I just wouldn't do it. And I wouldn't do it because she wasn't at the place she needed to be. if you're not honest with yourself as well as people around you about your weight and where you are and why you're there, you'll never win. Like, it's pointless. It's pointless getting somebody to help you on the journey if you're not willing to be honest with them. First of all, if she can't be honest with me, then I don't even have a starting point. I don't know where she is. I can't talk about what success is because I've got nothing to measure it against. So it's too much guesswork. And then I also believe that if you're not willing to tell somebody else your weight, then you're not owning where you are and you're not ready to make change. Admitting to other people, it doesn't have to be a group of people, it can be one person, but admitting where you're at and saying, this is where I am, I want to change, I'm not happy with being 85 kilos, 185 kilos, 200 kilos, 120 kilos, doesn't matter what the number is. Until you're ready to have that discussion, it's going to be very hard to move because you're not owning where you're at and taking full responsibility that I did it, I created it, and I'm ready to move. When you do that and you can be honest with yourself and say, I did this and I'm ready to make change, bang, that's when you can start to make change. But you've got to be honest with yourself, and you've also got to be honest with whoever it is that is going to help you on that journey. So honesty, I believe, is the most important point. And it goes into every single aspect of when you're losing weight. So if you've had a bad day and you know you have, being honest with yourself is where you are not saying, I just had to eat that takeaway because I was really rushed. That's not honest. It's not honest. Honest is, I couldn't be bothered taking the extra 10 minutes to make it. But you might say, but Baron, I'm too busy. Nope, it's not true. Nobody's too busy to eat good food, but we are too lazy. It takes effort. It doesn't take a lot more time. It takes more effort. And so we have to be honest with ourselves about where we're at with that stuff. No honesty, no win. That's the truth. So, number one, be honest with yourself every single day and be honest with whoever it is that's going to help you on that journey as well. That's my number one. Number two is sacrifice. If you want to make some significant weight loss gains, that's the wrong way to say it, isn't it? You don't want gains, you want losses. But if you want to get improvements and get the big weight loss happening in your life, you have to be willing to sacrifice. Now, there's not just food that you have to sacrifice. There's a variety of different things. Food is one of them. You have to be willing to eat differently forever. Forever. Absolutely forever. Remember, I always come back to this point. 70% of Australia is overweight. 70%. That is such a massive number. And it's because of the choice of food that we're making all the time. And we have to make a decision. No, I'm going to eat like a healthy person forever. Now, healthy people sometimes have a chocolate. Sometimes. And they sometimes have a can of drink. Sometimes. Everything's sometimes and not very often, frankly. Healthy people make good decisions about their food every single day. So sacrifice in your food is really important. The second thing is you've got to sacrifice time. You've got to sacrifice time from other things. You know, it's easy to order Uber Eats and someone to bring the food around. It's not any faster because the time it takes for Uber Eats to come in is a lot longer than what it takes to get up and make dinner for 10 minutes. But we have to sacrifice time from something else. We've got to move time from something else to preparing food. 100%. You've got to prepare food. If you want to get healthy, it's not going to come out of a packet. It's going to come out of the ground. It's going to be healthy, clean food. So you've got to sacrifice some time to prepare yourself so you're ready to win. So time is important. You're also going to have to sacrifice time to exercise from something else. And people go, I don't have time to exercise. Bullcrap. It's never true. Ever in the whole world, no one is too busy. I don't believe it, right? There's always time to exercise. It's just whether you think it's important. Do we think it's important? So sacrificing time, something better for something else that's not so important is really important to do. So giving up a bit of time. The other thing is sleep. You might have to give up a bit of sleep. If you say you don't have time, I always find a really easy way to find extra time. Get up earlier. That's my go-to every single time. And people say, I don't have time. Bullcrap, get up earlier. If you get up earlier, suddenly you create more time out of nowhere. It's quite an amazing phenomenon. So get up earlier or go to bed a little bit later and you'll find some extra time. There's always a bit of extra time that you can do stuff around food and health and make sure that you're eating well. The other one that you might need to sacrifice is socially. So you might need to give up a little bit of time socially because if you feel that you are not going to win by going out with these friends all the time because they might drink a lot, probably not a good idea. I was chatting with a lady just the other day, she's a ripper, and she said, Baron, my friends drink so much, it's crazy, and they're mad fun to be out with. I just love them, they're so good. She said, but I was talking to my husband the other day, there's a whole like group of, I don't know, maybe it's 8 or 10 of them that go out together. And she said, I was talking to my husband the other day, and she goes, I think I need to break up with them. She goes, I love hanging out with them, but I can't do these hangovers and I can't live the way that we're living because it's unhealthy and I'm putting weight on. So I think I've got to break up with them. I'm not saying never be with these friends again, but you've got to get serious. If you want to be healthy, if you want to lose the weight, then you might need to sacrifice some of that social time so you don't find yourself tempted by having lots to drink or eating crap food. Otherwise, you just won't get to the place that you want to be. I was listening to a podcast just the other day, the Howie Games, great podcast, by the way. And I was listening to his discussion with Tim Zhu. And, you know, he told the story about, he spoke to him about his dad, Kostya Zhu, who was, you know, obviously a world champion boxer, and Tim is now as well. And it was great to listen to. But the thing that I loved about the conversation is his dad, maybe too extreme at times, sacrificed a lot to be world champion, to be so successful in boxing career. And he told the story about how much he trained with his kids. And, you know, Tim was getting up at grade 4 onwards at 5:16 a.m. to run every single morning as a grade 4 and never lost a cross country after that because he ran every morning with his dad. He sacrificed sleep every day to be the world champion that he is today. I'm not advocating for that, but I love I'm not saying that you need to do that, but I love it. I love the determination of this kid to get up and go, I'm going to win. I'm going to be a winner. And to be a winner and to be the world champion, I've got to train and I've got to work and sacrifice and give up stuff that other people are not willing to give up. And that's how you win. And so sacrifice. He was willing to give up socially. He was willing to give up lots of different things, time, energy, sleep to be able to win. And the same applies to us. Now, we're not trying to be world champion weight loss people, but what we are trying to be is healthy and in a healthy place, a healthy weight. And so we've got to sacrifice time, sleep, food, socially to be able to get there. That's my second point. My third point is perseverance. Now, perseverance is something that will come over time as you have more success. You want to stick to the process even more. But I want you to think about perseverance like you're on a roller coaster. You know when you get on a roller coaster and you buckle yourself in, and then sometimes it feels a bit loose and you get a little bit nervous, but that's a whole other story. But as you sort of start to go up the first hill and you realize, oh crap, this is going to be scary as hell. I'm going to go down this big massive hill and my stomach is going to feel like it's going to come out of my mouth. And at that point, you might want to get out of that strapping that you've got out of that belt that you're in. And I remember, actually, funny story, when I was younger, me and my brother-in-law, we were a little bit older than my 2 younger brothers, we jumped on, it was very mean, we jumped on this ride up in Queensland at Movie World. And as we were just about to pull away, and I was sitting next to one brother and my brother-in-law was sitting next to the other brother, and we lured them on, come on, you got to come on this ride. And then my brother-in-law starts going, as we start moving, he starts going, oh, hey Matt, is your thing locked? Mine's not locked. And then my brother starts freaking out. And then my other brother starts freaking out. And they're both super upset. And we were laughing. That's kind of mean, right? But we'd set them up and then we were saying, oh, it's a bit loose. So they're trying to, oh, I want to get out. They were done. We can't get out. You know, if you're on a roller coaster, you can't get out. You're stuck. And I want you to think about that from a weight loss perspective. It's the perseverance. You've got to sit in it. On a roller coaster, there's ups and downs and fun bits and scary bits. And you've got to just strap in for the ride and hold on for your life. That's kind of a bit like weight loss, you know, because you're going to go, you know, you climb up that first hill and the first week you get this big loss and you go woof down that first hill. It's exhilarating, it's exciting, and then whoa, you've got to climb up a little hill and it doesn't go quite as well as it did before. And it gets hard and people invite you out to dinner and you've got this function and that function. It's like this roller coaster. You're going up and down, but you can't just unclip and get out. Because you know what? If you did, you fall to your death. It's not a great idea. Now, you're not going to quite fall to your death, but if you're really unhealthy, it might head down that path. So I want you to think I've got to stay in the roller coaster. I've got to stay in the strapping. I've got to stay locked in no matter how hard this gets, no matter how exhilarating it is, no matter how exciting it is, no matter how scary it is, no matter how hard it is to deal with and manage. What you got to do while you're there, though, is hold on tight. Stick your head back so your head doesn't get knocked around everywhere, and enjoy the ride. You got to enjoy the ride, as with all of the emotion that comes along with it. That's what I think sort of perseverance is, because you can't just jump out when it gets tough. And if you have true perseverance, you will continue on even when it's tough. Think about a day where, I'm sure you've done it, where you've stuffed up breakfast. You've eaten the wrong thing. You've been out and about. You had to leave early for work. You hit the servo on the way to work and you have a pie. And you're like, ugh, stuff it. I'm going to unbuckle out of this whole thing, out of this roller coaster. I'm out for today. See you later. Who's done that? It might not be a pie. It could be anything. But that's not the way to persevere. If you stuff up, we all stuff up. We're human. It's like, no one's a robot. But if you stuff up, then do the next meal right. And the next meal right. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and unclip your buckle and jump out of the roller coaster. Just do the next bit right. Because if you do the next bit right, then it can counteract what you've just done. And you won't be going 3 steps backwards. You'll be going 1 step backwards and 2 steps forward on that day. So persevere. Stick with it. Even though it gets hard, even though you get belted and it's tough and something goes wrong and you're busy, persevere. Keep going forward. All right, I stuffed up, but now I'm going to be right again. Now I'm going to be right again. Keep jumping back on that horse. So they're my 3 thoughts. Number 1, you've got to be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with the people around you, especially the person who's going to help you on that journey. Number 2 is sacrifice. You've got to be willing to give stuff up. You've got to be willing to give stuff up now for something better later. That's the message. Give it up now for something way better in the future. That's why you've got to keep an eye on the future, an eye on the prize. And number 3, perseverance. You've got to not quit. You've got to keep persevering and keep getting up every single time you fall over and do the next best thing. That's my thoughts for today. I certainly believe that if you're watching this video, your head's in the right place and you're ready to change. So go get it. Don't let anything get in your way. Turn on your weight loss superpowers. Because if you do, you can win on this game, just like so many people that I've seen. You got this. We'll talk soon.